does something with artifacts. So, like, eggs is viable still.
In Modern?
Yeah.
I never thought I'd hear you say that.
Yeah, I think eggs is still pretty good as far as like combo decks go.
How did you feel when you played that deck? Because I know we did some testing together when I was playing.
What I'm trying, I don't know yet. What I'm trying to do is build it and play Solitaire with it a lot, and try to figure out what turn average it usually goes off. That's what I can't figure out. Like, if I get the Lotus Bloom on turn 1...
That's the nuts of that deck.
Yeah, it feels like that deck goes off pretty quick if I get the Lotus Bloom. But if I don't get the Lotus Bloom, I feel like that deck is a lot slower.
It's even really hard for counter spells to deal with that, because even if they counter it on the turn that it comes into play, like, they can still second Sunrise and get it back, because it went to the graveyard that turn.
No, it has to go to the graveyard from play.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, hold on. I think for both of the spells. Second Sunrise...
Oh!
And also, Second Sunrise is everyone. That's something to remember. It's kind of interesting. But I think Second Sunrise is from the battlefield.
That'd be weird in a mirror match.
Oh, no.
I thought...
You're right. They were put into... Oh, yeah, from play.
From play, okay. Yeah, I remember... Okay, maybe I was thinking of when I Ancient Grudged it, because I would let it resolve, and on their upkeep I would grudge it, and then it would go to their first main, and yeah, they don't get the mana, but they can still Second Sunrise that. Because they're still, like, you know...
Yeah,
they're just like true. Silence, you know, sack a couple spell bombs and shit, and Second Sunrise, get it back, and you're like, damn it. With eggs, though, I think that deck shines when people like forget how to play against it, or forget to like put sideboard cards in against it, because there's certain cards that you can leave in your sideboard that just wreck that matchup.
Well, I would imagine what are you talking about? What cards? Because that deck is running Echoing Truth in the sideboard.
I know they are, but a lot of the times, and this was true especially when I was playing Jund, they would just snap-side in 4 ley lines, and I snap-sided in 3 Thorn of Amethyst, and they had no answers to it. Mm. They were just like, oh, okay. And like a lot of the times you just like Inquisition and Thoughtseize them, especially in Game 1. Because you can Inquisition and Thoughtseize the crap out of them, and even use Deathrite to exile some lands and stuff like that from their graveyard, which, you know, is relevant.
Sure.
Unfortunately, you can't exile artifacts. I was thinking if Deathrite had a 4th ability that was like red tap, exile target artifact, like put a 0/1 mirror into play or something.
Alright.
He would just be so retarded good.
No, but
he already is retarded good.
I do think, like, the way that Eggs is kind of invulnerable to Deathrite is a selling point for it right now. It's, you know... I
don't think I'll ever pick up that deck, though.
Nor do I. I mean, it's a very solitaire deck.
But I guess if that's your style, I mean, I wouldn't fault someone for playing it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, right now, I would judge it to be a good choice. That's kind of how I would, you know.
Right now, when I look at Eggs decks, the first thing I look at is their sideboard. Because their main boards are almost all the same. Like, sometimes the main board like Silence or whatever cute trick they think is going to be relevant in the metagame. But the sideboard's what's really important. And that's what we were talking about with Echoing Truth. How that's a really powerful card to put in your combo sideboards that a lot of people just forget about sometimes. I don't know why. There's always cards like that. I feel like Thorn of Amethyst is one of those cards. Like, do people not remember that?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess it depends on, like, how much you think Storm or Eggs is going to be at a tournament.
Well, even, like, pre-banning. Like, pre-Bloodbraid and Seething Song banning. Like, Storm was a big deal. I think it was the second deck to Jund.
Usually people will have something as an answer to it, though.
I mean, yeah.
Like, Jund already has a healthy complement of discard spells, so I wouldn't say, like, Thorn of Amethyst is necessary. You know? Like, you can usually
They have 5 discard spells. In the average list, you'll see 5.
Yeah, but more in the sideboard, usually.
It's really hard to fit them in the sideboard.
You can go up to 7, usually.
I'm gonna bring up my Jund sideboard.
I'm sure you have a Thoughtseize, or a...
I usually have, like, 1 Thoughtseize running around in my sideboards, but, like, if I'm ever wanting to test something new in a tournament, that was, like, the first thing I threw out. Thoughtseize is a huge liability in some cases. Like, especially in the mirror, Thoughtseize is not good in the mirror. I'm recording this, by the way.
Oh, you are?
I didn't start in the beginning, but I started kind of halfway through when I think it was when we were talking about eggs.
Okay.
Man, I need to rework this deck. Actually, I should bring up my bug deck. It doesn't have... I mean, obviously we don't have Bloodbraid Elf anymore, so that makes it a problem, right?
Indeed.
Indeed. I made some changes to this deck, though. I got rid of the Kitchen Finks. I got rid of the Serum Visions for you, Ryan Richardson.
You don't have to, man. I understand you like that card. It's fine.
I actually think you're right, but I still think that like 3 is actually a good number. I think that 4 is a little bit too much. I replaced one of them with a land. Because the cool thing about Serum Visions, when you add that to your deck, you're allowing yourself to play less lands. Which is huge.
Yeah.
I mean, being able to play 2 more spells than your opponent, and not to mention it does generate an amount of card advantage. I mean, sometimes it's even better than Preordain.
How?
If the card that you drew off of Serum Visions is the card that you wanted, so let's say you're just looking for like a top deck, so like the card you draw is like a Goyf or a Snapcaster or something that's just like awesome, a threat. And then the next 2 cards are things that you don't want, then it's actually better than Preordain because you got the card that you wanted, and then you dug 2 deeper. So you dug 3 cards to get the card that you wanted. Because when Preordain was the best is when you threw 2 bad cards away and got your good card. Because otherwise you were going to draw 2 bad cards in a row before you even got to that card, and instead you're just getting it now this turn. Mm-hmm. And if it were in that order where the good card you wanted was on top and the next 2 cards are bad, Preordain actually wouldn't be able to give you maximum value there.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, like, that's extremely situational, but you're right, in that situation.
Right, but even if, like, the top 3 cards, like 2 of them are cards that you want, like, you're still throwing 1 away, and
yeah, but
maybe even drawing it, which would suck.
Let's acknowledge that in the majority of situations, it's worse, because you're getting just a random card, and
absolutely.
you can't do anything with the other 2.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more there. Serum Visions is definitely a worse card than Preordain. I will never argue that against you. Like, I will never say that Preordain is worse.
And all I'm saying is, like, I don't know. It's almost automatic 4 of in a lot of lists, and I'm not sure I completely agree with that, because I don't find the strength of the card to be, like, I don't know, overwhelming, you know? I've always just felt like, okay, and, like, people seem to think it synergizes with Snapcaster, but... It
doesn't. It has the worst synergy of any cards. I like Inquisition way more with Snapcaster than I do Serum Visions.
Agreed.
Because you can just ruin a hand and also have a threat on the board.
It's like, if you're going to do something sorcery speed with Snapcaster, it better be something like, Inquisition or Thoughtseize or something where you're
or like Maelstrom Pulse or something like that.
Yeah,
like,
right? You want to be doing something epic. Otherwise, you really need an instant. I mean, even Ponder, that was good with Snapcaster. It was decent, right? Because, okay, fine. You get the best of 3. But just getting, like, a random card off the top and then being able to scry is, in my opinion, like, not overwhelming with Snapcaster, so... I
agree. I agree.
I understand running it. You're right. It's kind of like the best you have, but I'm not so sure that that's a selling point for me right now. I don't really play decks that run that card, though, so...
I know you're a hater on it. You're not a fan of Serum Visions in Modern.
I'm not. I want something better.
You greedy motherfucker.
That 1 blue cantrip, and I don't like. I feel like it's on par with. It's a little bit better than Thought Scour, I would say. You know, obviously.
It's significantly better than Thought Scour.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Okay, fine. But. It's closer. I feel like it's closer to Thought Scour than it is to like Preordain.
It's significantly better than Thought Scour. Like Preordain is significantly better than Serum Visions.
Yeah. Okay.
Like there's equivalent jumps in how good each one of those cards are. Like it's a definite difference.
Sure.
There are situations in certain decks where Thought Scour you can utilize the 2 cards in your graveyard way better, like via Bloodgas and Vengevines, and you know. But usually decks like that don't want to be milling Thought Scours, so having 4 of them is like when you Thought Scour 2 Thought Scours to the graveyard. Yeah. I mean, that'd be useful in a Pike deck, but again, you're talking like very situational decks.
Yeah.
It's not just like every deck that uses blue cantrips can snap side in.